Hello and welcome to another one of my videos, and in this one, as you can see, I've got the GSXR front end mounted onto the CX frame. That's the old forks, perfectly usable, but when you're going to do a project you might as well go all out with it. So the main actual thing of putting these forks on was just to test that this steering stem was the right length, and after mating it up to the actual CX steering stem, it was basically identical. So instead of going down the route of pressing one stem out and putting the CX one into the actual GSXR yoke, I'm just going to go for a all-ball tapered ball bearing conversion kit, which basically gives you the right size ball bearings, bottom and top, to fit the stem you want to put in. So I've ordered them, hopefully they'll be coming in next week. Obviously they won't be fitted until the frame is powder coated and ready to get put back together, but it's best to have all the parts ready so you know they're there when you need them. So another thing of putting the actual forks on is seeing how much steering angle I've got, which is not that much. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the angle grinder to these stops here and just cut down that line on the CX frame, and hopefully that just gives a tad bit more steering angle for when I'm going slow. So basically slow manoeuvrability. I'll get that out when I can. Another problem that I know some people have when they change the front end on, or change the CX front end with a USD one, is they hit the tank. Now as we can see, this is at full lock now and doesn't hit the tank, so even if I take that little bit of material off there just to help me steering angle a bit, I'm still not going to touch the tank. I know some people kind of put a little recess in the tank so the forks actually sit into it so it doesn't hit, but I want to try and keep the actual CX500 tank the same shape as stock and basically just paint it, just so it still looks like a CX. You still know it's a CX. So yeah, that's the front end. Over the moon with it. Now moving on, as you can see from my last video, I cut the back end off, and this is the actual fabrication, which I forgot to actually bring with me. And as you can see, even without the fabrication, it was a bloody good cutting job because it fits pretty much perfectly. It mounts onto these two bolts here, so this is basically just keeping it in place, but once it's all welded in you won't need those bolts, but I'm going to keep them there anyway. I'll just get them all powder coated with the frame. So next stage is to get a welder just to put a nice seam weld down here and then around this wing here and around here, and then once he's done that, basically flatten these wings off so they match the frame, and yeah, then this part of the bike's ready to go for powder coat. And the only other bit which needs some modification is I need to put the rear hugger mount on here, which needs welding on as well. So I need to take this swing arm off and get the whole rear hugger basically aligned and get the mounts all welded up at the same time as this one. Once that's done and this is done, this frame will be going to powder coating. So next week I'm going to try and basically strip this whole thing back. I just wanted to fit the front forks before I did that, so I knew when I came back from powder coating I just had to put the bearings in and don't have to worry about that too much. Another thing is I've got this yoke here. Now the front end didn't come with a yoke when I got it, so I thought, okay, I'll get one off eBay. Now this is a SRAD 600 GSXR top yoke. Me being me, thought basically the 750 and the 600 are the same bike, just a bigger engine. I was wrong, as normal. Basically the SRAD 750 has slightly bigger forks. I know the seals are 2mm bigger, so the top yoke doesn't fit, but this was only a tenner, so I don't mind trying to actually expand these openings up a bit. Now as you can see, I've actually tried to expand this a bit and it still doesn't fit. It's getting there, but it's still not fitting, so I'm going to keep working at that. As you can see how much I've kind of opened them up by. Worst case scenario is I'm going to have to get a GSXR 750 top yoke, but for a tenner I might as well try, because once this is opened up and clamped and you've got the bolt right in there, as long as the bolt's got enough threads, it doesn't matter how much this kind of goes right the way around the fork, as long as it grips it. Most of the actual force is going through this triple tree here where the stem is, so yeah. Try and work with this, and then I'm going to polish it all up. I'm going to make it into like a polished aluminium finish for that one. And also, this is the ignition mount on the old GSXR yoke, and if I just move the actual mounting points on the CX barrel, they'll actually fit straight on here. So what I'm going to do is, if I try and get where's my CX barrel? There it is. If I stick this gently on the radiator, not to break the radiator. As you can see, if I take the keys out first, it's not going to fit. If I stick this on here, it actually, the holes, on the camera, the holes actually do line up. They're just a bit further out. So if I basically take this hole and elongate it out to back here, we can then centre that in that hole, and we can use the original CX, the Honda CX ignition barrel, which I want to use anyway because that was cheap and I got off eBay brand new. So yeah, it's all looking quite good. So like I say, the frame's basically done, the forks are basically done. Other than this bit and the other bit, the rest of the kit just bolts onto the original bolt holes around the frame, so don't have to worry about that. And yeah, I'm happy of the progress which is happening with this bike. The engine I haven't touched yet. I'm going to try and leave that till the end because the engine side of it I am more than comfortable with, so once I've got all the fabrications done and the bike basically in a rolling chassis form, I'll then move on to the engine and start going through all that. So if you're waiting for the engine part of the build, that'll come towards the end of the project. Radiator I'm hoping is going to work. I can't see any noticeable points where it would be leaking, but I can't really say that until it's actually under pressure. So yeah, the only thing I'm going to really do is go over with a wire brush on the outer parts and basically spray it in the matte black paint and just hope for the best, because the CX basically a sealed CX radiator that doesn't leak is like hen's teeth. Plenty that have been bodged, but I don't want a bodged radiator on this bike. Hoping this one will be fine. So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it for today. It's now just packing all my kit away, which is a right pain and it'll take us an hour to do. So anyway, with that, as always, ride safe and I shall see you soon.